Hi everyone, welcome back to part 45 of my TemTem playthrough. In the last episode, we went ahead and defeated the dojo here in Lochburg, which was pretty cool. I think this was one of the easiest dojo battles I've had till now. Hopefully the next dojo that we're gonna go to is also easy as well. Once I did actually talk to the dojo master, we got to know that our next destination will actually be Popper Town. That's where the app tamer called Nala actually went with Max in order to go ahead and meet that dojo master. The storyline is a bit clear now, but our main goal will definitely be going ahead and trying to find app tamers. Apparently they're the only one who will be able to kind of help us in this situation. In order to do that, this is our next pathway. So I'll be going ahead and trying to explore this whole path in today's episode. Of course, if you might have seen, this pathway is pretty long and there are a lot of tamers here. I'll try my best to complete this whole path in today's episode. We also have a bunch of new TemTems that we'll be able to find in different sections of this route. I'm hoping to actually find them as soon as possible, but let's see how that goes. First of all, we do have the steamer right here. The south part of this route right here is actually a dead end, but it does have a sticker as well as an item. So I'm gonna quickly go ahead and collect them once I defeat this tamer. Now this tamer actually has a chromion. I am guessing that it's actually a fire type, but I might be wrong as well. Either way, we are able to take her down. The other goal for me in this episode is to try and level up my TemTems as much as possible. The last dojo battle was a bit tougher, but the main thing that concerned me was the level of the TemTems. The final TemTem of the dojo master was at level 75, which is so much closer to my TemTems. I'm guessing that the next time we are going against a dojo master, the levels will probably be higher than my team. Hopefully I'll be able to have a strategy for that, or else I would definitely have to level up my team. Either way, here is the second tamer. This one has a Ventil and a Venmet. This is pretty interesting to see as they both are different evolution forms for a same TemTem. But the evolution kind of depends on the trait that TemTem has. I'm guessing the TemTem is Venmet, but I might be wrong about the name. I think both of these designs are super cool, and if you're able to see their designs, you'll be able to guess their typings. They're definitely part melee, and I believe it's part normal, at least Venmet is. The other one is actually part normal and part I believe psychic, or in this case it's mental. Either way, moving forward. Now this is actually section 1. I will talk more on the TemTems that you'll be able to find here. I just want to go ahead and clear out the path that is the tamers before we come back to catch TemTems. Ooh, here's a newer one, Mitty, which you'll actually be able to find right here. It's a pretty cool TemTem, and if you haven't yet added a mental type TemTem to your team, you'll actually find a lot of them in this path. It's definitely a good time to add one to your team, considering that they are quite helpful for the upcoming dojo. As for Sherlont, I believe it's a final evolution of a TemTem that we have yet to see. Maybe that TemTem is available in this path as well. Alright, it seems that we're doing pretty well against most of these tamers, but I'm also trying to make sure that all of my team actually levels up together. This will actually keep it quite balanced, and I'll be able to focus on each at a time. Right here I'm trying to level up Gazuma. I think it's almost there, just a few more battles and it will level up once more. Initially I was not willing to have Gazuma in my team as I've had it in my last playthrough, But I think it's an amazing TemTem, and you'll actually be able to find it in Dennis, which is the first region. So it's a really good addition to your team. You'll also find some really good electric type in Iwaba back in Sipanku. So if you did add Gazuma and want to switch out, that's probably the better place to kind of do it. In my case, I do have a very specific TemTem that I want. Unfortunately, it's only found here in the 6th and final region, so I do have to still wait for it. So at some point, I will be switching out my Gazuma. It's kind of sad considering that I've had it throughout the playthrough, but I do have to switch it out for the other one. Here we have Rebel, which is another new TemTem we'll be able to find in this pathway. We also had the Minute, I believe that's the pronunciation for it. It just went down, but that is also a TemTem you'll be able to find here. I'll talk about it once I do defeat another 2 Tamers. I believe those are the last ones for this pathway. Alright, moving along. This pathway is pretty unique, as the grass here and the trees are actually in a shade of blue. More accurately, I think it's bluish green, but it looks super cool. I'm pretty sure that there are some more unique pathways in this region, so I'm pretty interested in exploring them. Right here I did get an encounter for Moala, which I believe we have already seen back in the dojo. This one's pretty unique. I believe it's part melee and part mental. Probably I'm wrong about the dual typing, but I'm pretty sure it's already part melee. Yep, I was right. So it is part melee and mental, which is pretty cool to see. A unique typing. I'm pretty sure that it has its own advantage. There's another TemTem that I will be able to find here, but I'm just gonna move on forward with the next Tamer and come back later to actually catch them. Now this one is a optional Tamer, but he does have a Magmut. Magmut, I believe, is part earth and part fire, or maybe it's part fire and part melee. That might be the case. It's an interesting typing. Did switch into my starter to use the border type move. There we go, that was pretty good. I'm also seeing that Magmut is at level 83, which is quite higher. Unfortunately, Kazuma did go down, so I did have to switch out. But in the next turn, I believe I'll be able to take it down. Ooh, it actually healed up. That was pretty bad. I think it will knock itself out, which it did, thankfully. There we go. This, I believe, is the end of section 1 for this pathway. The next side would be section 2. Before I do anything, I do have to heal up my team. I think I'll do that as soon as I do defeat this Tamer. I'm also trying to run back and forth from Lushburg because I do feel that it's actually better than kind of holding on to healing items. But considering that this pathway is much longer, I might have to use smoke bombs or just try to heal up with the items I have. This Tamer is pretty interesting as they do have Minox. I believe we'll be able to find Minox in the very next pathway, but for now we'll not be able to find it in this one. We also have Aohai, Aohai or Ohai. I'm guessing it's Ohai. It's a pretty interesting TemTem. It's part melee, or it's part fire and part mental. It does have a bluish flame, which I really like. I wonder how its Luma version actually looks. Pretty interesting to think about. I'm guessing maybe it might have a reddish flame. Either way, we are able to defeat her. Moving on, there should be an item here. Yep, we have Tem Spotter. Temp spotter is pretty interesting. You'll be able to go ahead and identify a specific TemTem that might be quite rare in the pathway using this item. Now unfortunately I completely forgot about healing up and did make my way forward. This means that I have to defeat these two Tamers here. Ooh, a Platimos is a bad thing. I know Platimos is pretty easy to defeat, but right now my team is not doing that well, so I might have to be a bit more careful. At least I do have Saku. You know, I might end up healing my other team members just to make sure that I win this battle. Usually I am actually interested in exploring all of these pathways and just leveling up my team in general. But now that the storyline has kind of ramped up and we know that there are certain things that are actually happening, I'm quite interested in the storyline. This doesn't mean that I will actually sideline all the side quests, but I might just keep them aside for some time. There are a couple of quests that I anyway will not be able to do, considering the fact that I am here in Aubrey. After all, we do not have a pathway to go back to Sipanku or other regions. But once I do get access to go to other regions, I might just keep that aside. We're almost at the end of the game, so I definitely want to go ahead and keep all of these for the post game. But of course, if I do find out that a quest is actually pretty small, like the quest that we had back in Lochburg, I'll just go ahead and finish it. It might just take me just a minute or two. Speaking of which, I'm able to actually defeat the rest of the TemTems pretty easily. I did have to revive Gazuma, considering that it is one of the essential team members at this point. I think I'll be able to take down Nagas over here as well. There we go. These two are defeated. Definitely need to go ahead and head back to just heal up my TemTems. But of course, if I do find the newer TemTems on my way back, which I actually did right here, I did have to cut off some of the other encounters. But here we have Tycho, which I believe we have not seen yet. But we have seen Monko, which is its evolution. Tycho is pretty powerful. It is part electric and part melee. You will actually find this in the very first section of the pathway. It does have the trait Zen, which I'm really not sure what it does. But that's alright. So I'm back in the Temporium. I'm just seeing if I'll be able to fill up a space for the sake of it. I just believe that having a 6 team member is better than not having one. Either way, cutting back to where we were supposed to go to. Here we are. This is section 2 of the map. Or I'm sorry, this is still the section 1 of the map. So you'll be able to find the 2 new TemTems that I just caught in the first section. We have a next tamer here. It seems to be 2 kids who are having towlies, which is pretty cool. I have yet to find one, but I believe we'll be able to catch one here in this path itself. Let me quickly go ahead and defeat them. I think Gazuma should be able to, and that might be the reason why they're actually targeting Gazuma. But with that, Oshukai goes first due to the use of hook move, which does give it priority. But there we go, that was pretty simple. There was one thing that I had asked in the episode 40, and it was on the move for my starter. It was called Nagai's Fury, and I was wondering when my starter would actually learn that move. I just got to know today that apparently it already knows that move, and I just forgot to add it to my moveset. It was pretty infuriating, but I did actually go ahead and switch it up. Nagai's Fury is pretty powerful, and it will actually hit both of your opponents. This is definitely really helpful, especially since most of these battles are double battles. You might not see me using it right here because I've yet to actually equip that move. But it also seems that there are two grandpas here. It's a pretty funny name. After all, a grandpa is having two grandpas. Either way, apparently I've also found out that rockfall doesn't really do anything even though they are when typing. That is pretty interesting. At least electric type works. But there we go, we were able to defeat him as well. Now we are almost there to section 2. We have 2 more Tamers left. Here's the next one. This is actually Marie Carmen, who is apparently my neighbor. Surprised to see her here. Now we did get to know that Aina wants to talk to us, and she is here in Aubrey. I wonder if she sent out our neighbor to kind of give us a message. Let's see if that's actually true. She did lead up with this crunch and then a ray can, which is interesting. I might be able to take it down in the next turn. Up next is a Village that is in Luma form, I'm sorry. Pretty interesting design, but right here you might have seen Nagai's Fury. I was able to kind of equip it after that first battle, so it is pretty interesting to see. It also did massive damage, which helped me a lot. Now that we have defeated her, she actually decides to go ahead and talk to us. Let's see what she has to say. There's a message from Aina. Apparently she is trying to contact us, and I might have said this in the reverse order. Marie Carmen is actually the one who tells us that Aina wants to meet us. She didn't really say where, but she told us that she's been following us since the beginning, and she told us that she tried to go to Nanga and then to Tukma and then finally to Kisiwa. Unfortunately, she was not even able to find us in Sipanku, considering that we are here in Aubrey. So she has made her way here. Hopefully I'll be able to meet her and talk to her. I definitely also want to talk to the professor, considering that he did have some plans to explain. Hopefully I'll be able to talk to all of these characters soon. Here we have our very next Tamer. I'm guessing this guy is also a Denesian. Let's see if we'll be able to defeat him. He does have 2 water type TemTems, which is interesting. I did actually switch into Saku. Hopefully this helps. Right, we only have to take down Platimos. Saku is at level 78. It's about to be level 79 if it does survive the next turn. And we are able to take down Platimos as well. There we go, that was interesting. It seems that all of my TemTems are coming to level 80, but I think my goal will be 85 by the next dojo. I'm really not sure if that is possible, but we are just gonna try our best. Right here I decided not to use the Temesium field. I think I'll save it up later. Just went with a bomb. Moving forward, we see the stowaway. He seems to talk about Neolin, who we have met back in Tukma. Talking to him, he says that we have to actually meet up in the next town, which is interesting. He doesn't have time to chit chat, but does want to talk to us in Mudshire, which I'm guessing is the next place. Never mind, the next place is actually called Cromleach, and we will actually be meeting him as well as Carlos over there. This is definitely interesting. At this point, our character is also considering if the stowaway is a spy. I don't think he is. I mean, if he was, he would have been a bit more suspicious about us and would have asked us way more questions than what he did previously. But he definitely is an important character. After all, he has been everywhere and we have never been told about his, I guess, background story. Either way, we'll get to know it pretty soon. Here is the next tamer with a Oshiera, although this one is at level 80. Let's see if I'll be able to take it down. The electric type move didn't actually take it down in one hit as I hoped. Switching into Antan, I'm just gonna try using a fire type move. Thankfully it does go down, which is good. It seems that the tamers are actually getting tougher the more further I go. I'm supposed to be kind of expecting it, considering that we are in the last region. But at this point I decided to go ahead and heal up as well. There we go. At some point I will have to definitely go back to Lochberg, but at least I'll be able to push through a bit more. Here we have our next tamer. Now I believe we are almost there or halfway there. This tamer has a Monko of level 100. Alright, I was not expecting to take down a level 100 TemTem. This had me speechless, but I definitely have to focus on defeating it. Leotel is pretty tricky as well. Hopefully crystal type move will actually do a bit more damage on it. Decided to go ahead and bring out Gazuma using Chain Lightning, which actually seems more effective on Monko. Unfortunately it took down Antan, so I do have to be a bit more careful. Switching into Oshkai, I'm just gonna use the move that is right now activated. Going with Electric Storm on Gazuma. Yep, it was able to hit. And Leotel actually goes down. That is 4 times weak to electric type move. Monko will go down in the very next turn as well. Pretty tricky battle, but we were still able to win. Although Antan did have to go down. Moving forward, we have this old man here. Now he's actually thinking that we are rude. I am really not sure how, but apparently according to him, outsiders are rude. So let's quickly defeat him and move on. Now he does have a Sherald and a Grumper. For the Grumper, I might have to switch out my Gazuma. Or in this case, it just goes down, which was kind of expected. Up next, I did decide to go ahead and bring in Nekais. Now I know that it will not survive a electric type move, but I'm hoping to just use a mental type move before I go down. Shell goes down, so we can definitely focus on Grumper. We're at least able to survive 1 turn, which is interesting. I went with Hook, which is double damage, but it really didn't do much. Thankfully, the water type move takes it down. I might have to go back and heal up my TemTems. But before I move on forward, I did get a new sticker. Overall, I believe there are around 5 stickers in this path. You'll be able to find them pretty easily, considering that none of them are in a weird or a hidden place. Next up, here's another TemTem, Cycrox and Zeoben. I might have to be a bit more careful. I wish I had switched into Saku. Cycrox is actually part poison. In this case, it's actually part toxic, and it did take down my starter. Bringing Saku in, I decided to go ahead and use a move. I don't believe wasting my turn for just healing up a TemTem is gonna be helpful. Cycrox goes down, and the very next turn, Zeoben goes down as well. Never mind, it actually did not. There's a 2-wire on field, which I believe is part crystal. This is gonna be interesting. I was able to take down Zeoben in the next turn, but 2-wire is still up. This is a bit trickier, but I believe I'll be able to win this battle. Let me just use a... Ooh, never mind. Oshukai went down. There we go. I really wish that it would have targeted Saku in that turn. But at least one of my TemTem is healed up. At this point, I did want to heal up my team. So I did make my way back to the city. Now that we are fully healed, moving forward, we have Takako, who is looking for her friend. Apparently her friend has completely changed and she does not want to talk to her anymore. In order to avoid her friend, she pretends that she is battling against us. And that is how we end up here. That's alright, we will be able to defeat her. Up front we have Scrunch and Inky. This is definitely an interesting pair that I've seen till now. Scrunch goes down in one hit. My starter almost goes down as well. Thankfully, I am able to survive. Next turn, I used Nega's Fury, which is pretty powerful. Inky goes down right after that. Alright, the opponent actually did not use a move on us, so I do get a chance to switch out. Switching into Kazuma and using Hook, which is a pretty good move. That was bad, but at least we did not get hit that badly. Dim Mask is an interesting move, or it does have an interesting animation. But there we go, we have defeated this Tamer as well. We're almost there, just a couple more Tamers. I think my issue with this pathway was the way it has been designed. It's annoying to kind of see where you're gonna go next right in front of you. Either way, we do get a couple of items as we did make our way quite far. Up next we have a pair of Tamers. They do actually start arguing, but we are somehow able to ask them to just battle us instead. Ooh, interesting. Here we have another pair of TemTems evolving from the same one. Both Banshee over there and Owl actually evolved from Towley, which we have seen before. I believe there is another med evolution for this one, but I really do not know its name. We are definitely having quite the challenge here. I might have to switch into Kazuma, but let's see how this is gonna go with Antan. After all, crystal type moves are super effective against them. Unfortunately, Owly over there, I believe it's part melee, so I am having a bit of a trouble. Banshee is part mental, so it is able to do a bit more damage on Oshukai. Next turn, Banshee does go down. Owl almost goes down. It did survive, which surprised me. It did knock itself out, which is good. They do have the same pair again, which is interesting. You might be wondering why I'm actually not switching out my TemTems. This is mainly due to me wanting to level up these two. They are the only two TemTems that are at level 78. The others are 79. I do want these two to be 79 as well. Now that both of my TemTems are able to survive with a lot of bombs, let me quickly go ahead and defeat these. Banshee goes down with a crystal type move. Unfortunately, Anton goes down as well. I was hoping to heal it up. That's alright, I'm just gonna go into Kazuma. Using electric or chain lightning does actually do pretty good damage. There we go, it did knock itself out. I think this was the worst battle I've had in this pathway. Moving forward, there are only a few more Tamers left, but I think I'm more interested in the items. Healing up my TemTems, here we have another one. Gavin. I'm actually not sure which TemTem that is. maybe he's not trying to be a TemTem, or maybe it's like a Luma version of Focus. I'm really not sure. Thankfully, I do have Gazuma up in front and will be able to use Chain Lightning. Next turn, I go with Rockfall and Electric Storm. Even though this Focus was at level 90, we were still able to take it down. I feel that the levels of these TemTems are just getting ridiculous the more further we're going. It's a bit irritating as well. There we go, I did heal up my TemTems. Picking up another new sticker. It seems that we do have a pathway to jump down. It does go back to Lochberg, so I'm not gonna go there. We have Kana over here. Let's quickly go ahead and defeat her as well. Ooh, she does have some mental type TemTems, but we do see a newer one, Sanbi. I believe it's the evolution of Midi, which we have seen before. Now this is actually the third section of this pathway. The second section of the pathway was the waterways that we had to cross after we talked to Stowaway. The third section also has its own newer TemTems. I'm gonna come back here to catch them as well in this very episode. So don't worry, I'm not forgetting on catching new TemTems. Let's quickly try and defeat Sanvi here. I'm guessing that this should be good enough. Just need to wait on Warm Cuddle. There we go. Alright, I'm quickly gonna go ahead and pick up the item as well. It also seems that finally, since I have been playing this game for an hour, my internet is slowly crashing, but that's alright. As for the newer TemTem you'll be able to find in section 3, Rival is the only one. I know it's pretty uninteresting, but it's the only TemTem you'll be able to find here in section 3. We'll soon be going to section 4. For now, let me quickly catch this TemTem. I do have a couple of Tem Card Plus, so I'm just gonna try and catch them in that. I think the only item in this game that I really didn't have to buy more is the Tem Cards. Somehow we are able to find so many. Here we are in section 4. Let me see if I'll be able to find some newer TemTems. The first one is Towley. Let me quickly go ahead and catch it. If you're wondering about the section 3, I just went ahead and showed my location in the map. So that is section 3. Right above it, right after the two Tamers that you might have just battled, who did have a Banshee and Owl, you'll be able to go to the section 4. Towley has Tag Team, which is a pretty interesting trait. Although I am gonna just go ahead and keep it aside. We're also able to find Owl here, which is pretty interesting. In order to evolve your Towley into an Owl, you do have to have specific TVs. I believe it depends on either the special attack or the attack stat. I'm not completely clear about it, but let me know in the comment section if you do want to know more about evolutions in this game. I'll be able to show some unique evolutions and how to actually get them. For now, let's see if we'll be able to catch this one. Let me just try using Tem Card Plus. Even with almost full health, I'm still able to catch it, which is good. As for newer TemTems, I think those were the newer ones. Let me quickly heal up Antan and move on forward. This is actually the fourth section, and we just found Towley and Owl here. We have one more pair of Tamers, which is right here, and we'll be at the end of this path. I also think that I'll end out this episode after this battle. I mean, we're already over an hour, and it's almost an hour 20 minutes, so I definitely want to stop it at some point. Now these two actually have 6 TemTems, although all of them are pre-evolutions. which actually makes it much easier for us to defeat them. First up we have Revel and Mittel. Mittel I think is pretty cute. I believe it actually evolves into Minox, or I might be wrong, I'm not sure. I have not gone through all of the evolutionary lines in this game. But for now we are able to take it down. Up next, let's see which two TemTems we do have to go against. Oh, alright. Tycho and Showlet. I believe Showlet is a TemTem you'll be able to find here in probably the third section. Personally, I've already caught a Showlet, so I'm not really worried about it. But if you do want to catch one, you will be able to find it in this path. You also will be able to find this in the next path, but I think I'll pick it up on the day I'm actually playing through that path. Lastly, she does have a Towley. I decided to switch out my starter just because of not wanting to heal it up. I think Ushkai will be able to do a better job. Now most of these TemTems are pretty lower in level. I think that's the reason why they're not much of a challenge. But at least we were able to raise up to level 79 from 76, which is really good. Couple more levels and we'll be able to at least try and defeat the next dojo master. Lastly, they do have a Hocus. Now, Hocus is a TemTem you'll be able to find in Dennis, but only in a specific cliff. It's a pretty small area, and you'll be able to kind of find that cliff when you are reaching to Windward Fort, just after you leave the city. But of course, that battle was super easy. Either way, that is this pathway completed. Definitely was pretty fun, but I think I'm more interested in the storyline, so hopefully I'll be able to complete this game as soon as possible. Either way, I hope you all enjoyed this episode as much as I did. If you did, please put a like, and if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to my channel as it really helps me a lot. If you'd like to support me more on Patreon or Ko-fi, check out the links down in my description. But I'll see you all in the next one.